The world of Expanse is, of course, conflict between, humanity's inhumanity to humanity, or itself, rather. And this follows them in, of course, to their new world. They're already fighting over it. And at the moment, of course, Holden is there to try to avoid that. But at the same time, he's also discovering the real mystery of what the proto-molecule is leading them to and what it means. He's come to the conclusion that this was a technology developed by some ancient civilization that's long gone, and possibly what they created may have caused this, and they've walked right into the death trap left behind by the folly of this previous civilization. Well, that's one possibility, isn't it? But the strange going-ons of these ancient machines that are activated now, and Holden feels he let it happen because for whatever reason he's still in contact with this entity that appears to him in the form of Miller. And this is how he has insight, of course, into some of this, of what's going on, but it's still all, of course, a mystery. Meanwhile, the conflict between the different camps and with basically the Belters and Mercury and his crew goes on. And there's a bit of, well, Mercury is just flat out a villain. I mean, it's like Amos said, he's just, you really just like to kill. Don't give me this justification crap. Meanwhile, the woman that Naomi saved, and she nearly dies here, but they're able to save her, and she's at the point of wanting to die, but she's so on with the cause that it's cost her probably her daughter. Her husband contacts her and says he can't find her, and why are you doing all of this? And she says, well, it's important and all this, but she's basically sacrificed them, maybe albeit unwittingly, to the point of that she's so obsessed with this cause, so she's almost as bad as Mercury as well. She nearly dies, and she almost wishes she would, but at the last minute, she helps, Alexander to help her out and all that in this rather grisly surgery scene, complete with, futuristic abilities and technology and all that, but still, they perform that well. And meanwhile, Holden is unable to really hold it together for these people. They're determined to just slaughter one another, and he's trying to mediate it, and it's falling apart. And finally, he doesn't know what else to do, and he's telling them that there's no point in fighting over this planet because he's pretty much convinced they need to leave. It's too dangerous, and it's about to turn on them. And they're like, what are you talking about? And, they know there's something going on with this ancient machinery and whatnot, but no one fully understands it. So then he just flat out reveals he's talking to his imaginary friend. And they're like, well, wait, what? Only I can see in here. And that's how he has the insight into, or better idea of what's going on than anyone else. Meanwhile, apparently, a nuke went off towards the climax of the episode. So it looks like they're running out of time. But even then, they'll probably be clawing at each other to the bitter end, despite the fact that they appear to have a common enemy. Meanwhile, back in the old world, Kristen is involved in a political debate for the job of General Secretary, I suppose, of the UN government that runs the one world government. Yeah, it happened. And she's now the head of that. And it's kind of like this thing where I think they're positioning her to be like Churchill, where he was the great warrior prime minister, but as soon as the war was over, he lost re-election. And so she's presenting herself that she saved them, and she nearly lost her life and all that, and the battle and stuff that led to the formation of the rings and all that. But they say, yeah, great, but we got our problems, and you're part of the the political class aristocracy, and you've never really worked in the real world like we did, and all this sort of thing. And so her challenger makes these points. And I'm kind of wondering if they'll go in that direction where she actually does just lose office. And, but, still plays a part in whatever this is going on. Eventually, when she gets back in contact with Holden and he tells her what's going on over there. Meanwhile, there's that whole criminal organization that Bobby's involved in. They didn't deal with that in this episode, but still, things have a way of coming together, because then there's Ashford and all that going on, which they'll get also not in this episode, but it's coming. And trying to maintain this would seem to be progress of bringing the society together, but too much pain and misery has gone on, and they surely don't trust one another. And having a new planet doesn't make it any better, because they're fighting over a few acres of dirt when there's a whole planet. Why don't they just move somewhere else on it, But of course, the planet has got problems on it because of the ancient alien technology. And are the aliens dead? Is the proto-molecule, for all intents and purposes, sentient? It seems to be adapting personalities and thought processes of the humans that it's taken over, certainly in Miller. Or is it just the means by this civilization set out to find other worlds and whatnot? Well, that's all part of the mystery, isn't it? So, Oppressor was the title. Now, gee, what does that mean? Well, I guess each group sees their enemy as the oppressor, I suppose. But it's all around about just who exactly is there an oppressor, or are they oppressing themselves by the flaws and the means by which they deal with the adversities they're up against. Meanwhile, the romance is blossoming somewhat in its own way between Amos and his girlfriend there. They won't actually come forward and say it, but obviously he cares in his own way. Amos is a hilarious character. And, it's kind of like this look. It says, nah, we were just hooking up, but it's never that simple, is it? So, that's all great, too. So, another great episode of The Expanse. Do check it out. And hopefully the story will continue. I haven't heard anything about a new season. I'm hoping to hear that. Well, right now we're under these terrible circumstances with the outbreak and everything. So a lot of things could be on hold anyway. But I hope the show has good numbers, and I hope people check it out. If you haven't, please do yourself a treat and check out The Expanse on Amazon Prime. All right, thank you for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe, and check out the link description below. That'll take you to my little stores that have plenty of goodies for you, and most notably, my comic book, Night, over at indieplanet.com. You can also find my podcasts over at radiomisfits.com, the Mr Nailsin Show, and you can also watch videos like these over at BitChute.